UK Home Secretary Amber Rudd says security services must be given access to WhatsApp and other encrypted messaging services to stop future terror attacks. Rudd has summoned tech leaders to a meeting on Thursday as it emerged the government is powerless to access the Westminster attackers' final WhatsApp messages.
It is completely unacceptable. There should be no place for terrorists to hide. We need to make sure that organisations like WhatsApp, and there are plenty of others like that, don't provide a secret place for terrorists to communicate with each other.
Samuel Berg joins me now from London. And Samuel, once again, we see a situation where the sort of tech companies and government seem to be on opposite sides, or at least facing tension related to this issue.
Maggie, this has all of the makings of the FBI versus Apple case that we saw in the wake of the attacks in San Bernardino, but now it's here in the United Kingdom. But Maggie, encryption is very black or white. Either it's encrypted or it's not. So really what the Home Secretary is asking for here is a back door into these apps. And once you have a back door, all of the experts say you don't just give a particular government, but all governments, and quite frankly, anybody, an opportunity to get into these apps. So some have even questioned if the Home Secretary truly understands what end-to-end encryption is. And this is the type of encryption that all of these apps are using now that make it so that even if the United Kingdom's government was able to convince WhatsApp in these meetings that they should hand over information, these companies, quite frankly, don't even have it. They would have to rewrite their apps, and everybody would have to update and change their apps in order to get this information. It would mean a whole new landscape.
And that's exactly why they did it, because they wanted to be able to say, we can't give it to you even if you ask for it. This is all about protecting privacy, Samuel, but it seems that, and we saw this, you and I talked so many times over the days when the Apple and the FBI were at odds, is no one looks good here, though, because even consumers, when they're polled, felt very torn about this, about privacy versus security. You're sort of saying, hey, you're not letting us help catch the terrorists here. It's a difficult position to be put in.
Nobody comes out a winner here, because we can all see both sides of the coin. On the one hand, we don't want to be the victims of a terror attack, and on the other hand, we don't want people hacking our information, taking our bank account details, or finding private information about us here. And really, the only way this path heads is, at the end of the day, the UK, if they really want to make this happen, would have to require these app makers to change the code, go in and rewrite, somewhat against their will, many lawyers would argue, change that code. Or if Apple or Facebook or Google refuse to do that, then you'd have to talk about making the service unavailable. And that's something that Brazil has done with WhatsApp. That's something that Saudi Arabia has done with BlackBerry Messenger for a period of time. And then you have consumers upset with the government because they don't have the apps the way that they're accustomed to having. So there are many different scenarios where each group here, consumers can feel uncomfortable, businesses can look bad, government can look bad. And so it all comes to a very difficult position. Though you have to mention, in the end, you know, the FBI and Apple were able to avoid all that. So that's what many people are hoping, that it doesn't end up having to go to the courts or through legislatures, and that there will be some type of way to resolve this without having to make those backdoors.
Yeah, on an individual case basis, we shall see. Very difficult topic. Sammy, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.